climate change is affecting their daily lives. We are seeing in Malawi an increase in the incidences of flooding and also the other end of droughts. Typically this year in Malawi, some of the districts had a mid-season drought to the extent where about 2 million people are going to be needing food aid. In the last probably 10 years, there's been a resurgence of a pest called larger grain borer. It starts to attack the maize right in the field. If you don't treat it with the right chemicals, most of the chemicals, they'll tell you that you can get 3 months protection or 6 months protection. But if you don't use the ones that can actually control the larger grain borer, you find that within a month, all that grain has turned into flour. And it's flour that is useless. You can't eat it because it is contaminated. Maybe farmers may not have access to the right chemicals in the first place, and also the right conditions where the moisture has to be right in order for the grain to be preserved. In Malawi, for example, farmers used to harvest about 600 kilograms of maize per hectare because they do not have access to the productive inputs, especially improved seed and fertilizers, and also crop protection products. Due to the government putting in place a farm input subsidy program where they were providing the seed, the fertilizers, and the crop protection products, Malawi smallholder farmer now is able to produce 2,500 metric tons to 3,000 metric tons of maize per hectare. That's still not enough because under research and even on farm trials, some of these maize varieties can produce as much as 7 tons to 10 metric tons. So that's where we should be heading for. But for that to happen, farmers need to be able to access all these productive inputs. What smallholder farmers need to do is to be able to utilize technologies that help them to produce more from the same size of land than they were doing before. Here we've been looking at what farmers can do in terms of conventional technologies, but also with biotechnologies. We must not forget that the farmers themselves also have their own traditional seed system, they have their traditional processes, and they have their traditional ways of farming. The farmers' voices and the farmers' ideas have to be brought to bear so that it's a combination of these factors that help farmers to produce much more than they've been doing in the past to feed the demands of a growing population. So Afri-nut was born about 2 years ago. With the partners, we are looking at a $3.9 million investment to bring in more equipment, to do a lot of more training, and above all, to also do aflatoxin quality management. Malawi used to be a major exporter of groundnuts until the early 80s when we lost that market due to several reasons, but the main reason was actually aflatoxin contamination of the nuts. But working with ICRISAT, working with Twin, we've been able to revive that market, and now we are able to export again.